Hi, everyone, and welcome to OP Digital Blueprint with Collins and myself, and obviously our esteemed guest today, Mike Ellis. Say hi, guys.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Now, we're going to let Mike do his thing today. So, Mike's going to start us off, and no doubt we shall have some additional extras to add in. So, Mike, away you go. I want to hear your thoughts on what's happening.
Yeah, and normally when I come on with Andy and Collins, I just talk about things that have been on my mind, and been a lot of things on my mind about ONPASSIVE lately, and really today I don't want to get into any fluff. There's no fluff here today. I want to stay in the reality of the day, what's happening within ONPASSIVE, and how it's going to affect each and every one of us. I believe in a very, very positive way. And I want to start with a couple of things that are happening today. One thing I've known for a very, very long time, and the other thing is something that I just learned recently, and maybe Andy and Collins can confirm it. But everything that I'm going to talk about, it ties into ONPASSIVE in a very, very positive way. And the first thing I want to mention is in the United States and the banking system in the United States. In 1973, Nixon took the United States off the gold standard. Okay, that was quite a while ago. And today, if you look at the dollar back in 1973 and you look at the dollar today, a dollar back in 1973 was worth $1. Today, that same dollar is worth 5 cents. Okay, now that's pretty shocking stuff. Because when you think about what you earn and the money that you have, all of a sudden, it's not worth nearly what it was back in 73. And again, this ties into ONPASSIVE. What does ONPASSIVE allow us to do in order to correct some of those problems? And all of this has to do with central banking system, the Western central banking system. But what does ONPASSIVE do to let us overcome that? And I'll get to that. And the question I'm going to answer today is when. And questions are always good. And I'm getting this question multiple times a week. When. And you all know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't even have to say anything. So the gold standard was gotten rid of by Nixon, and the currency in America has just taken a dive. Another thing, and again, Collins and Andy can maybe comment on this. I listened to a lady the other day, and she's from the UK. And she went to her bank, the AT unit, to withdraw money, and she was going to withdraw $200. And when she got the withdrawal, it wasn't $200. It was $20. Now, again, this is all about the central banking system that we both deal with and what's going on in the central banking system. And that's a whole different topic. I won't go there today because it's very, very complicated. But it was a shock to this young lady. She wanted 200 pounds. She got 20 pounds. And she's going, well, what the heck is this? Again, this ties into ONPASSIVE. What has ONPASSIVE done? Well, where is their financial hub of ONPASSIVE? Where is it? It's in the UAE. It's in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Why? Well, number one, they've gone with BRICS, and BRICS is a banking system that you come in and you have to back your currency with hard assets, gold and silver. And the UAE has done that. Now, if I go to the UAE today and I have money in their banks, how much can I withdraw in a day? Again, in the UK, she wanted 200, she got 20. How much can I take out of the bank in the UAE a day? It's a good question. And the answer to that question is 20,000 pounds a day. That's a really, really big difference. Now, is it a coincidence that Mr. Mufareh has taken his the financial part of ONPASSIVE and parked it in the UAE in Dubai? Our financial offices are in the Burj Khalifa. Is that a coincidence? No, it's not a coincidence. Mr. Mufareh knows exactly what he's doing and the reasons why he's doing it. The banking system in the West right now, they're going, I'll put this very, very mildly, they're going through some really, really big changes. And because ONPASSIVE has its financial base in the UAE, with a country that has their currency based on gold and silver, it is stable. In the United States and the UK, it's not as stable as you would think it should be or would be. And again, this brings us into what ONPASSIVE is doing, how they're doing it, and just how ingenious what Mr. Mufareh has done. And it will answer the question for us, when. And I'm going to get to that in just a second. So when we look at ONPASSIVE, we know, the big thing about ONPASSIVE, people come in and they say, well, I just don't know. All you have to do is look at what ONPASSIVE is doing today. And I'm not going to go over everything that ONPASSIVE is doing. We know that they're in the UAE. We know they're in Egypt. We know they're in Africa. We know they're in Singapore. We know they're in the United States. We know they're in Great Britain. We know they're all over the world. We know that the things that they're doing are revolutionary, and what they're doing is, it just makes perfect sense when you look at the whole world economy. So ONPASSIVE is doing things the right way. And when you look at ONPASSIVE and you ask the question, when? I want to start with this. I listened to a lady the other day, very, very wise individual, and she talked about waiting well. Okay, and we hear a lot about that in ONPASSIVE. You just need to be patient, patient, patient. But she took it another step. It's not being patient. It's more than that. Waiting well. And she talked about it in her regular life. She talked about it in a spiritual sense. In her regular life, she said, listen, when you're willing to give people a little bit of grace, when you're willing to wait well for them, it usually turns out really, really well. And people surprise you because you had the patience with them. And then she took it into the spiritual realm. And she said, listen, when you wait well on God, good things will happen to you. And I understand that, because God, he sees everything. He knows what your heart is. And if you're waiting well, he knows that. And I think that's applicable for ONPASSIVE. If you wait well, and it's just not a matter of being patient, it's a matter of being positive about what ONPASSIVE is doing. And again, I just went over some of the things that Mr. Mufareh is doing. So you don't have to come into this waiting well in faith. You don't have to do that, because you can see everything that Mr. Mufareh is doing and what ONPASSIVE is doing. And when you think about waiting well, I can tell you the rewards that ONPASSIVE will bring to us because we've waited well are going to be tremendous financially. They really are. I see that every day when I listen to Mr. Mufareh, when I listen to Andy, when I listen to Collins, when I listen to Mark, when I listen to all the different individuals within ONPASSIVE. If you wait well, the rewards that are coming to us, I believe very, very quickly, they're going to be tremendous. And believe me, you're absolutely going to love what's going to happen. So let's get to the question, when, okay? When is ONPASSIVE going to flow? When is the money going to start to flow? When are the products going to start to flow? And it really is listening to what's going on within ONPASSIVE. The first product of ONPASSIVE that's coming out is OConnect. We all know that. And if you don't know that and you're new here, that's the first product that's coming out. Mr. Mufareh talked about it about a week, 10 days ago. He said it's ready to go. We're ready to release it. We're testing a little bit. Maybe there were a couple of issues they had to address, but OConnect is coming to the market very, very quickly. When? Very, very quickly. Okay. I can't give you a day, but it's coming very, very quickly. But that answers so many other questions that we all have of when's the money going to start to flow? When is ONPASSIVE going to smooth out? All of those things. When we think about OConnect, OConnect's ready. In my mind, it's ready. He can put it out tomorrow. Why hasn't he done that? He could put OConnect out tomorrow and he could start bringing in revenue today with OConnect, because OConnect is so good that the people, when they see it, they're going to flock in, they're going to buy OConnect, and ONPASSIVE is going to bring revenue in. That's not what Mr. Mufareh wants to do. Mr. Mufareh wants to make sure that not only can he take money in, but the money can go out. And when he can do that, that's when he's going to release OConnect. Now, when you think about that, does ONPASSIVE need the revenue from OConnect? They're in business. If you're in business and you're not bringing in revenue, are you still in business? No, you're not. This is a really, really big deal for Mr. Mufareh. Now, is ONPASSIVE bringing in revenue today? Yes, they are. All you have to do is look at the police summit, what they just got done doing for the police summit, which was it's a worldwide organization. All the police organizations throughout the world are in this, and ONPASSIVE ran the police summit for the police organizations. Now, do you think they got paid? Yeah, they got paid. They don't do this stuff for free. Number one, it's a major undertaking. Number two, why did the police summit? Why did the police forces pick ONPASSIVE? You think they just did it willy-nilly? I don't think so. I listened to Ron O, and I listened to Ron the other day, and he said something that was really, really appropriate. What do police departments do? What do? They investigate. Do you think they investigated ONPASSIVE? Oh, I think they did. It's what they do. It was a piece of cake for them to go in, see who ONPASSIVE was, what they're doing, and if they wanted to be associated with ONPASSIVE. And the answer was, yeah, we do. Not only do we want to be associated with them, but we want them to manage all of our data. Did you get that? They want us to manage all of their data. It shows you where ONPASSIVE is. So we have OConnect. It's ready to come out. They're already bringing in revenue now. OConnect is a big deal to bring in additional revenue and major revenue, because behind that, you've got 3 or 4 different products that he's also going to bring out that will bring in more revenue. And he's not doing that until he can pay you and I commissions. That's it. When he can pay out money, then he's going to release all of this. Is this a big deal? Does this give you an idea where we are? Does it give you an idea what Mr. Mufareh is doing? Does it give you an idea of how important this is for the for the corporate side of ONPASSIVE and for Ash Mufareh? Absolutely. They are not wasting time doing this. In my mind, they're very, very close. They have to be. It's not a question of, well, this is what we're going to try and do. That's not Mr. Mufareh. We don't try and do things. We do things. We see a problem. We find a solution. We release it to the world. He's doing the same thing with bringing in money and putting out money. That is happening today. And I believe we're really, really close. When? Is it a day? Is it a week? Is it a couple of months? I can't give you that answer, but it's in there. And you just have to wait well, look and see what he's doing, and understand he's not sitting on his hands. These things are in motion right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, not next year. They're in motion right now. And I believe in a very, very short period of time. Ash hasn't been on for, I don't know, maybe a week, 10 days, something like that. And of course, everybody freaks out when that happens. He's working it hard. He's working the problems. He's finding solutions. And when he has a solution, and I really think he already does. Really, guys, I think he does. And now it's just a matter of, okay, when are we going to unroll it? So the question of when, you have to stay in the reality of the moment, understanding what's happening, wait well. And when I say wait well, do it with a good attitude, guys, because when he comes out with this stuff, if you gotta, if you're waiting well, that's terrific. If you're just waiting, okay, that's fine. You've forgotten about ONPASSIVE. You've gone about your life. When it comes out, you'll take a look at it. If you're not waiting well, chances are you're not here anymore, because Mr. Mufareh sees everything. And if you're one of those individuals that's not waiting well, you're just going to be so sorry in a very, very short period of time that you didn't wait well. So I recommend everybody wait well. We're very, very close. ONPASSIVE, believe me, it's rocking and rolling now. And I believe over the course of the next days, weeks, maybe even a month, I don't know, things are going to change, and ONPASSIVE is going to start to flow. And Andy and Collins, they're just going to be jumping up and down on the rooftop. It's going to be a good time. Go ahead, guys.
Thanks, Mike. I love the fact that we learned the other day about the plan that Mr. Mafara has had by having two teams running concurrently. You know, when you've got two teams working on the same product, to find the better of the two, and the one that we have right now is a perfect product, but the one that Team B has created is far superior to the one that A team have created. And the one that A team have created is far superior to what's available on the market. So this is mind blowing, guys. Collins, we've got a question here. Perhaps you can help this lady out, Masigo. So I shall leave you to explain about that and about the quality assurance, I take it, and a little bit more about the process.
Yeah, I know a lot of people want to know when I say something, everyone wants to know why. Yeah, so QA is part of software development. All of them, you know, the two intertwine with each other. So when they develop a software, they build it, what you need to do is to pass it to QA. QA is the gateway, you know, from the development point of view to the world market. So the QA can say, no, we are not sending it out. Yes, we are happy with it. Go. They check it, make sure the software is fit for purpose or exceed customer expectation. And that's what Ash was trying to say. Now we are in QA. So when they build it, they pass it to QA. It doesn't mean that they are not testing when they build. Depend on the process where the process they are using to build the software. With ONPASSIVE, based on what I understand and what Ms. Ash have been saying, when Ms. Ash always talk about the agile process, I don't really want to go to the technicality when it's using sprint and all those language. You know, it's about a way of building software where testing is done at the same time. So you have two different ways of testing the software. If you look at it, we're always talking about we are better testers. I always said, you are not better testers, so forget it. We're doing our part, but not really better testing. So we have two parts. We have like the alpha testing and the beta testing. So when the alpha are those who work in the house, the same time with the software developers, the test as they build, it's just the same, like they call it behavioral driven development. Test as you go, test as you go. And then the beta now is when they finish that, those guys, they are out of it. They sit somewhere and then you give them everything and say, yes, we are happy now in-house. They've done it, the alpha testing from the process going, because everything has a life cycle. They give it to them, they go through their own life cycle. And if they're not happy, they send it back again to the house. So it's something that goes two ways until both parties is happy. They say, all right, now we can believe that everything that we are talking about, it can be based on the performance, can be based on functionality, whatever Ms. Ashford said they should do. They will say, yes, we are happy. So QA is almost like two parts, you know, but they are all within the software development. And when they are happy, it can take 1 day, it can take 2 days, depending on the criticality of the issue that they find. Some issue can be resolved within 1 month. Some issue can take 1 hour. Some issue, it means that they have to go back to the drawing board and start all over again and say, okay, we've seen this. What do we need to do? It's just about resolving most of those critical issues when the QA find them. So I think we are really good, because when you have things like that, Mr. Asset QA is still part of it. So don't say, oh, it's 2 days. No, it doesn't matter. It can take, depending on the issues that they are finding. But we know that after QA, then the whole world will see it.
I don't think it's just about that, though. I mean, I get it. I get that it's going through quality assurance, but Mike mentioned it earlier on about the payment system, because if the payment system, which is actually a third party, it's not part of ONPASSIVE at the moment. So we have a third party system in place that has to be able to take on technically millions of customers, and you have to take that payment in and be able to pay that to ONPASSIVE. But you've also then got to be able to take the payment from ONPASSIVE that comes out as a commission and be able to pay that to the affiliates. And if the merchant isn't up to scratch, then the system has to change.
Correct. Yeah.
So, you know, what we do know is at some point he wants everything to be in-house. And therefore, at some point, that will be, you know, part of the system that ONPASSIVE has, but it's not there yet.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts then, Mike, on this merchant process and what's going on at the moment? Because obviously still payments have still yet to be made or paid out. Now, I'm with you. I don't like the banking system. I like the BRICS scenario because it is actually backed by something. We have what they call a fiat currency, which is basically worthless paper, and which is why the inflation has eroded the value of each and every pound, dollar, yen, or whatever. But what are your thoughts on the merchant side of things, and what do we think's happening with this side of it, Mike?
I think when you talk about ONPASSIVE, I think merchants are used to ruling the roost. They come in and they tell you what they're going to do, and you abide by their laws, their rules, and if you don't, you're gone. Well, if you know Mr. Mufara, that's not going to fly. And ONPASSIVE is so massive right now that these individuals, when they come in and they start to see what ONPASSIVE is, they're wanting to dictate how it works, goes by the wayside. And if it doesn't, they go by the wayside because Mr. Mufara won't put up with it. The amount of business that ONPASSIVE will bring to any merchant that they decide to work with is absolutely massive. And, Colin's talked about the Q&A and what's happening with the products of OConnect. And it really is part of the genius of Ash Mufara and what he's doing with this single sign-on platform, because not only is OConnect going to be above market value, superior in every way, but it's also integrated with every other product within ONPASSIVE. And again, when merchants come in and see what he's done, because that's never been done before in the history of online business or offline business, everything's integrated. When they see that, people are breaking down the doors right now to come in and be with ONPASSIVE. And when we start to talk about the merchant account, none of us here really know all the integral pieces that Mr. Mufara is dealing with the merchants, with pay in, pay out. We just don't know what that looks like because he hasn't shared that with us. And I don't have the expertise when it comes to that part of the business, that part of that financial structure that has to be in place to do that. And I've heard people say, well, this company does it. It's a piece of cake. Why can't anybody do it? It's not a piece of cake. It's not easy. And most of these companies have been in business for 25, 30 years, and they've had a track record. So they know the merchants and themselves, they know exactly what's going on and what to expect. That is not ONPASSIVE. You go to a merchant with ONPASSIVE and all of a sudden your first day, you've got a million sales coming into one. They're going, who this is to them, it's a brand new company, even though this company is massive. They're going, this is impossible. No company can do this. Something has to be wrong. And then you get the people in there, the fraud department in there that's going, yeah, this can't happen. It's wrong. That's one of the problems Mr. Mufara has had. I believe today, when we talk about the merchant accounts or the ability for ONPASSIVE to bring in money and put out money, and I'm not sure how they've solved the problem, but I know they have. It's in the pipeline right now. And I know Mr. Mufara, he will be coming on within the next week, within the next few days, within the next week, whatever it is. And he's going to give us an update on how these things are going. And maybe he's going to come out and say, this is what's happening. Boom. Here's the day. I just don't know. Again, when? It's one of those questions Andy can't answer, Collins can't answer, and I can't answer. But I can tell you that they're on top of it. They literally are on top of it. And as he comes out and shares more with us, we'll all have a little bit more insight to come on and talk about that part of it. When I think it's close, but we just have to wait. There's nothing I can tell you today that you're going to go home and go, okay, it's going to happen Thursday. Because I don't know that.
You can't say
Mike,
that.
Mike, let me say something. Andy, can I touch on this before I forget? Mike said something. Yeah. I just want to explain how payment processor work a little bit for people to understand, because I've heard a lot of founders saying Amazon is paying this volume. Apple is transacting this volume, billions of transactions a day. Why can't ONPASSIVE do it with smaller volume? This when we talk about volume, look at it. We are paying across 200 and plus countries. There are countries that you've never heard of. Sometimes the payment process doesn't even go through. A question I asked a guy, I said, let's look at Stripe. Stripe is a payment processor. Does Stripe process finance to Africa? No. Stripe is embedded in most of the companies You can talk about Amazon. Amazon has a wallet. The payment process running under Amazon is Stripe. You can look at Google, Stripe. They process within the Western world. That's one of the biggest financial company, that's payment processor. But they don't process in certain countries. But when you look at where ONPASSIVE is located, that's where we talk about the volume. Now, say for instance, like Mike, let's talk about volume. We are talking about hard currency and soft currencies. Say from Africa, now you're moving, say, just talk about $500, for instance, or $1,000. Push it to Africa. We are talking about Cameroon is 1 million, or 1,200 is 1 million CFA. When they look at that money, the bank will alert and said, what is happening? This person have never seen this type of money before. What is happening? The in and out of hard and soft currency, especially in a location that has never been done before. So what ONPASSIVE is doing is really crazy, because you are moving, to countries, because we have founders and affiliates in those countries where even they don't have payment processor. You need to look for the right payment processor to pay into that countries, and that's why when they talk about the volume, it is not volume as per se when you compare, but it's about the movement of money from those type of countries, Papua New Guinea side in Africa and different side, and then you look in the right payment processor that can do transaction from one end to the other. Because we will not want to be, I think ONPASSIVE, Mr. Ashmufara, don't want to be in a position where you can say, oh, North America, I will pay you, and then someone in Papua New Guinea cannot even receive any dime. It's sending a very bad signal. And exactly. That's how payment processor works. So it's just like, it's massive to do all of that in all of those countries. It's not easy.
Yeah, let me add one thing to that real quickly, Collins. And in India's not much different than Africa. Okay, when it comes to the banking system, they're not that much difference. But you look at what Mr. Mufara has done using creative ideas in order to take care of whatever country it is. I'm talking about India right now. Ash Mufara has told us that India, he's going to give each individual, each affiliate, a credit card. And that credit card will be filled. In other words, ONPASSIVE is going to fill that credit card. Now, I don't know the logistics involved with that. It's got to be massive. That's another program that Collins knows more about than I do. But that's one of the solutions that Mr. Mufara came up with. Okay, the banking in India sucks. It's just not very, very good. We'll give everybody a credit card that they can use. We'll fill the credit card. It's a way to give them the money and let them have access to it and spend it. Okay, that's one solution that he came up with India. And he did say that that was one of the solutions that would be enacted very, very quickly. Well, if India is being taken care of, he's gone throughout the world, all 200 countries around the world. He's having to do that, not the West, but in Africa, in Asia, in different parts of the world. He's having to have those creative solutions so that the affiliates within ONPASSIVE can be paid. That's what he's dealing with right now. It's a really, really big deal. Go ahead, Andy.
You've also got to take into consideration, Mike, that places like Russia, it's banned. Visa and MasterCard are not in there. They're not allowed to be used in Russia at the moment because of the embargoes. China, you're not allowed to take money out of the country, and you can't transfer things in and out. So you have to find a merchant with banking licenses that have the capability to do everything for all of these countries. And then on top of that, you've got the issue of money laundering or anti-money laundering, because every single country has a different rule and regulation. So in the UK and the US, it's fairly straightforward. In India, it's probably non-existent, to be fair. But in Russia, it's totally different. In China, it's totally different. In Africa, it's totally different. So, and the merchants have to be able to have the capability to do it in every single country, because if they don't, and we in Europe and the US can get paid, but India can't, we've got a problem. Can you imagine? Because the vast majority of the affiliates are in India. If that were the country that couldn't get paid, all hell would break loose. So it's not just about it's not just about having the products ready. It's being able to make sure that every single person can get paid and be able to pay for a product. And as I said, in Russia, if the merchant doesn't have a banking license for Russia, you can't do it. So it's out in Russia. Same in China, and that is half of the world market. Those two countries alone.
Yeah.
So you've got to be very careful here.
This is so good. 3 guys talking about being paid with ONPASSIVE have come up with things that Mr. Mufareh has to deal with every day, and we've come up with things that are real. These are things he has to deal with. These are things he has to find solutions to. 3 guys coming up with all this stuff, and you can multiply that by 100. That's what he's dealing with. But this isn't to put people off. It really isn't. They've been working on this for over a year. They know all this stuff. And I believe that Mr. Mufareh, he has a solution for all of these issues that we bring up. They're not new to him. If he listens to this webinar, he's going to listen to Collins. He's going to listen to Andy, and he's going to go, "Yeah, I know that stuff. It's not new." But for those people out there that it is new, you don't have to get down or depressed about this. You don't. He has been dealing with this for probably over a year. He knows this stuff, and I believe because of his creativity, because of his team, because of what they do, that most of the problems are solved, if not all of them. And that's why I say we have a very, very short time to wait before all of this stuff starts to happen. But I love to listen to Andy and Collins because it brings stuff that I didn't know, like Russia. I didn't know that stuff about Russia. I'm going, oh, and Russia's economy, by the way, is booming.
Booming.
Absolutely, it's booming. If there's a way to do business in Russia, Mr. Mufareh is going to make sure that ONPASSIVE is in Russia, because it really is. It's a booming economy, unlike some. Go ahead, Collins. What do you got?
As is China. Yeah, as is China. All of the BRICS nations, BRICS nations, because of what they've done, there's a lot going on in the background that we still don't know about, and mainstream media have not told us, but there are in excess of 60 other countries that have already signed up to BRICS.
Yep.
But interestingly enough, the UAE are already there, Saudi's already there, Qatar's already there, Oman, Kuwait, Bahrain, they're all there. They're all going to use assets, and this is the key to a currency. Go on, Collins. You've got something to say. Sorry, go on, Mike.
Yeah. So Mike also said, you talk about something about the value. Talk about waiting, patient, and positive mind. When you said that, I was just like, yes, this is really it. This is really it. Especially at this moment, this time. We need a positive mindset. While you are waiting, you must be patient. So, and when you are being patient, you must stay positive, because why should you feel really down, depressed, and you are in ONPASSIVE? It doesn't make sense, And when you have a positive mindset, what do you do? What do you need to do? You need to learn about ONPASSIVE, know what to do, so you don't have to wait until when it comes out or everything is just running. Then you say, okay, this is the time for me to learn. It will be difficult for you to catch up because the information is a lot. Every time when Mr. Ashford comes and just give a little bit of information, it's massive, because you really need to go, listen to Mr. Ash again over and over, that this is really a lot. And this particular bit of patient, wait, patient and being positive, when you put 3 of them together, you will win. So I said patient, positive, plus patient, wait, plus patient plus positivity is equals to win. So you will win when you do all of these 3 things. Now, this is For who? For the affiliate or those who are coming, the founders. This is for us. We just need to be at least positive, while we wait, and then all of that. And for the company, what Mr. Ashford is doing, he is there providing value, because he said value is equals to everything. Give them value, and the rest will fall in place. While the company is providing value, working hard to provide value to the entire world, we just have to stay positive, because at the end of the day, it's all done for us. You know, I always like to talk about the ONPASSIVE concept, which is just about doing less, paying less, ending more. I always like to stress that ending more with the ability to do good to humanity. You know, you cannot do good if you don't earn anything. You cannot give what you don't have. So this is just all for us, and we just need to stay to the course and just know that better days lies ahead.
I think the one of the interesting things that has come out of today is that we have three people with three different backgrounds and three different ideas of things, and we've kind of encompassed everything at the same time. It's really cool. Mike, you have something else to add? Please go ahead.
I think we all coalesce at the same point, Andy. We really do. We have a different way of looking at things, but that's a really good thing. I want to put what Colin said just in a little different way. My people die for lack of knowledge. We've all heard that. My people die for lack of knowledge. Today, it's about knowledge. What do you know? What's happening within ONPASSIVE? It's the knowledge of ONPASSIVE. And when you have that knowledge, everything else, all the negative stuff, it just dissipates. It just goes away. When you listen to Collins, when you listen to Andy, when you listen to me, hopefully, you get a little bit more knowledge about ONPASSIVE and what's going on. And you start to understand that, yeah, you are in a really, really good place, and there's not much more time to wait. That's the bottom line. And that's where we all coalesce. We all come together understanding that what Mr. Mufara is doing, what the corporate side of ONPASSIVE is doing, has gotten us to a place where it's ready to rock and roll. And I always want to say, when I get on stuff like this, you know, a lot of the individuals out there, they think that they're really not that important. They're just here. They're hoping things will happen for them. They're hoping things will go well for them. And I can tell you, you couldn't be further from the truth. Each individual that's come in, become an affiliate of ONPASSIVE, the amount of power that you have is so massive, you cannot believe it. And it's because we're a family. We come together in one unit. And when we do that, the amount of power we have, and believe me, Mr. Mufara knows this. He knows it. When we come together as an army of one, there's no place we can't go. Now, yes, Mr. Mufara and the corporate side, they have to do their thing. They're doing it. We don't have to worry about that. And then we get to start moving. And when we start to move, watch out. That's when the world's head, their head is just going to spin. They're not going to know what's going to be happening, along with all the marketing that ONPASSIVE is doing, along with the products, along with the volume, along with the market value that we have. And of course, I love to talk about that, but I'm not going to talk about it today. This is just about where we are, what we're doing, what's coming. And if we're in lockstep and we do this thing together, which we are, I don't even worry about that. We're all just in a really, really good place, and you're going to see it very, very soon. Andy Collins, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's the mindset is everything. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. We are in a perfect position right now to learn as much as we possibly can about what's in the what's in the ecosystem, how the products work, playing with the OConnect that we have right now. You know, learning a little bit more about ONET, OMail, and all of these other things, which we know will change, and as will the ecosystem. But the more we understand, the more knowledge we have, and Mike said it, knowledge is power. The more you have the capability to be able to share it if you wish to. And we all three of us have income goals that we want to achieve.
Yep.
I just don't want it to take 10 years. I want to do it in a much shorter period of time. So it is taking the time now to learn as much as possible about what's going on. I use an analogy. I walk around my my village with an inane grin on my face because I'm constantly looking for things that I love to see. You know, the shape of a cloud, the color of a car, a baby smile. It doesn't matter. If you have that, it becomes habit after a very short period of time. And once you're in that mindset, it's very difficult to get out of it. Not even Collins can get me out of that mindset. So, you know, positivity is everything, and it changes everything within your sphere. So keep that up, guys. Collins, any final points?
Yes, Andy. Yes, it's really great because, you know, like Mike said, and you just said it now, that we have to just try to learn as much as possible. I know, I think Star Rose from South Africa also wrote the same thing. So I think about yesterday, last night, I was just like really tired and stressed from work. Said, all right, I was feeling sleep. I said, so what should I do now? Guess what I was doing? I said, you know what? I'll spend 5 minutes on ONET, just play with ONET, and upload music on podcast. And then started playing from podcast. Someone called me and said, where is that music coming from? It's really nice, better than the sound quality. Yes, podcast on passive. Really? Can you show me how to do it? I said, so most of what I wanted to say is, when I want to relax, on passive is the place that I will go and relax. Just relax on one of those two, like ONET, OMail, see people chatting. I say, well, what's new today? You know, just play with it, just in a way, upload something and just enjoy it. So I take it as a place for me to relax, you know, in most of the tools and products. And it is free for us. You know, you don't have to pay anything. Even those who are not founders, affiliate, they can still come in for free and enjoy the free product, like the way I did last night. So it was really great. And that's what I wanted to say, Andy. So take it.
Perfect. Any final comments from you, Michael?
Yeah, just real quickly, Andy. You know, as I grow older, I have a clear vision as to what's going on in the world, and a lot of it's, and most of you would agree with me, a lot of it's not very pretty. It's not very good, and it's amazing when you talk to Andy or Collins, where do they go for rest and peace? On passive. Why? Because they understand what's happening. And when that happens to you, like Andy, you're going to be walking around with a smile on your face because you know what's coming, and it's coming quickly. So on passive is one of those unique places, honest, clean, ethical. That is Mr. Mufar. It's what he's preached since day one. And it's as true today as it was 5-6 years ago. Honest, clean, ethical. It's a good place to be, and you're going to benefit. You're going to see the benefits of your waiting well in a very short period of time. I wouldn't want to be anyplace else. The ride has not been an easy ride all the time, but it's been well worth it, and it's getting better and better and better every day. Go ahead, Andy. That's it for me.
Thanks, guys, and thanks ever so much for joining us today, Mike, and all our guests. We no doubt we shall see you again next week.
I hope so.
Hopefully, Mike can join us then as well if he's not too busy. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
See y'all later.